In the northern part of Washington state lies the sprawling Evergreen National Forest, a place where the trees rise like giants and sunlight barely kisses the ground. Tourists love its beauty, hikers love its challenge, but locals know that some parts of the woods are not meant to be entered. For decades, strange disappearances, eerie sounds, and unexplained sightings have been quietly recorded but rarely discussed. This story is one of them, a story the authorities tried to bury, a story told by the only survivor. Her name was Emily Carter, a 27-year-old wildlife photographer from Colorado. Emily wasn't afraid of nature, she embraced it. She traveled alone, camped alone, and shot wild landscapes for magazines. But after what happened in March 2019, she never stepped into a forest again. The beginning of the unexplained. Emily arrived in Washington after hearing rumors about a rare species of owl spotted deep within the Evergreen Forest. The locals warned her, "Stay on the marked trail, don't go beyond it, especially not after sunset." Emily thought they were overly superstitious. She laughed it off and left before dawn, carrying her camera, food, GPS, and a small tent. The first few hours were peaceful. Birds chirped, the air was crisp, and the forest smelled of pine and earth. She took dozens of photos, beautiful, bright, and serene. But by noon, things began to feel different. The forest suddenly grew quieter, the wind stopped moving, even the birds seemed to disappear. Emily felt the silence pressing against her ears like a weight. Then she noticed something odd, a set of footprints leading off the trail. They were human, barefoot, deep and fresh. Out of curiosity, she followed them. That was her first mistake. The trail of footprints. The footprints led her nearly a mile deeper into the woods. The deeper she went, the older and darker the forest became. The trees twisted unnaturally, their trunks scarred as if clawed by animals. At some point, Emily realized the forest looked nothing like the maps she studied. Suddenly, her GPS blinked and shut off. She tapped it again and again. Nothing. Then she heard it. A faint, low humming, almost like a tune someone was singing. It was distant, but enough to send chills down her spine. She called out, "Hello? Anyone there?" No response, but the humming stopped. She decided to head back to the main trail, but when she turned around, something terrified her. The footprints she had followed were gone, completely erased. In their place were new ones, leading behind her, as if someone had been following her instead. Nightfall. Emily walked quickly, then faster, then eventually ran, but the forest seemed endless, twisting and shifting in ways that didn't make sense. By 6 p.m., the sun dipped and darkness swallowed the forest. She set up her tent in panic and crawled inside. She kept her flashlight on, her camera in her lap, and her ears open. At around midnight, she heard footsteps circling her tent. Slow, heavy, deliberate. Not an animal, not human either. The steps stopped right at her tent's entrance. She stopped breathing. She didn't move. Then she heard it. A whisper. "Emily." Her blood turned to ice. Nobody knew her name. Nobody should have been there. And then, a long, cold fingernail dragged across the tent fabric. Scratch, scratch, scratch. She didn't sleep at all. The creature. When the first light of morning seeped through the trees, she grabbed her backpack and ran. But she didn't get far. There, standing about 30 feet away, was a tall, thin figure. Pale, almost translucent. Its limbs were too long, its joints bent at unnatural angles, its head tilted unnaturally to one side, as if studying her like prey. Emily froze. The creature took one slow step toward her, then another. She snapped a photo instinctively, and the click of the camera made the creature jerk its head sharply. Then it charged. Emily fled, crashing through branches, sliding down slopes, and scrambling over logs. She didn't look back. She didn't want to see how close it was. She reached a cliffside where the forest opened to a steep drop. Behind her, she heard the creature screech, a sharp, skin-crawling sound. She had two choices: die on the cliff or face what was chasing her. So she jumped. The fall wasn't too high. She landed hard in a patch of moss, twisting her ankle, but still alive. She crawled until she reached a small ranger service road and collapsed. The aftermath. A passing ranger found her several hours later. Emily was shaking, dehydrated, and mumbling incoherently. When she finally calmed, she told them everything. The rangers exchanged worried glances. One of them said quietly, "You're not the first." When Emily demanded to go back for her camera, the rangers refused. No one goes back there, not anymore. Authorities declared the area restricted due to dangerous wildlife and unstable terrain, but Emily knew better. Whatever lived in that forest wasn't part of nature. It was older, hungrier, and it wanted her name for a reason. A week later, Emily traveled back to Colorado. She never hiked again, she never camped again, and she never slept without a light on. But the most chilling part? 1 month later, she received her recovered camera in the mail. No return address, no note. Just a single photo saved on the memory card. The photo she took. The creature was standing much closer than she remembered, right behind a tree, smiling.